Have you ever been in this situation? Your parents bring up your brother or sister in conversation, and out of nowhere, your chest gets a little tight. Or you hear that your sibling just landed something big. And even though you know you should be happy for them, there's this strange, bitter feeling creeping in. And then, almost immediately, you start feeling guilty about it. Like, what is wrong with me? Today, I want to talk honestly about that feeling. It's called sibling rivalry. And here's the thing, it doesn't mean you're a bad person. It doesn't mean you're selfish or petty. It means you're human. This is one of the most deeply studied topics in psychology. And by the end of this video, you'll understand exactly where that feeling comes from, and what you can actually do about it. Let's start with the big question. Why does sibling rivalry even exist? Here's what most people get wrong. They think it comes from having a bad personality, or being too competitive, or not loving their sibling enough. But the truth is, the roots go much, much deeper than that. We're talking about survival instincts. From the moment we're born, we need care. We need attention, warmth, love. And when you're a baby or a young child, your parents' love isn't just nice to have. It's basically a resource you need to survive. Now imagine a sibling enters the picture. Suddenly, that resource has to be shared. This is why firstborns often act out or even regress when a new baby comes home. They get clingier. They might throw more tantrums. Some kids even start acting younger than their age. It's not a behavior problem. It's a primal fear. Is this new person taking my place? The psychologist Alfred Adler talked about this through what he called birth order theory. He said that when a younger sibling is born, the firstborn experiences something like being dethroned. One day, you were the center of the universe. And then suddenly, you're not. That shift, Adler believed, leaves a lasting mark on how we see ourselves and the world. And it's not just firstborns. Kids who grow up with older siblings are basically hardwired from day one to keep up, to catch up, to prove they belong. That drive gets internalized so deeply, most people never even notice it's there. Here's the key insight: none of this is conscious. A child isn't sitting there thinking, I am now competing with my sibling for parental resources. They just feel a pull, a hunger to be seen, to be chosen, to be enough. And that hunger doesn't disappear when you grow up. It just goes underground. Now stay with me, because this next part is where things get really interesting. When we talk about sibling rivalry, there's one factor that shapes everything else. And it's the parents. Research, across the board, points to one thing in particular: comparison. Sound familiar? Why can't you be more like your brother? Your sister had this figured out by your age. Look at what your sibling accomplished. Parents usually say these things with good intentions. They think they're motivating their kids. But from the child's perspective, what they actually hear is something very different. What lands is, you are not enough. Not compared to them. And when that message gets repeated over and over, kids tend to go one of two ways. Some become hyper-competitive. They start to believe that winning, outperforming, being better than their sibling is the only way to earn love. And when that sibling succeeds, it genuinely feels like a threat. Others shut down completely. They internalize a sense of learned helplessness. I'll never measure up, so why even try? Their self-worth takes a serious hit, and it can follow them for decades. And then there's favoritism. This one cuts deep. Researchers at UC Davis found that kids who felt they were the less favored sibling were significantly more likely to experience depression and low self-esteem well into adulthood. But here's the part that surprised even the researchers. The favored child wasn't psychologically free either. Many of them grew up carrying this quiet, constant anxiety. If I stop performing, I'll lose this position. Being the favorite isn't as comfortable as it sounds. Now, a lot of people think this all fades away with time. That's kid stuff. Once you grow up, you move on, right? Not really. Sibling rivalry doesn't end when childhood does. It just puts on a suit and tie. In adulthood, it shifts from, who gets the bigger toy, to, who has the better job, the nicer house, the more stable relationship, the higher salary. You show up to a family dinner, and suddenly you're running a mental scorecard without even realizing it. Your sibling posts good news in the family group chat. You send a congratulations, and yet, something in your chest feels just slightly off. You can't quite explain it, but it's there. This happens because of something called social comparison theory. The psychologist Leon Festinger proposed that humans have a natural drive to evaluate themselves by comparing themselves to others. And we don't compare ourselves to just anyone. We compare ourselves to people who seem like us. Same background, same starting point, same family. That's exactly why your sibling's success hits differently than your best friend's. Your coworker gets promoted and you think, good for them. Your sibling gets promoted and something deep inside you shifts. It's not because you love them less. It's because your brain is wired to use them as your closest reference point. That's not a flaw in your character. That's just how human psychology works. And it gets more complicated as your parents get older. Who's doing more for mom and dad? Who's getting more of their attention, their gratitude, their approval? Questions about caregiving, finances, family roles. These can reignite sibling rivalry at 40, at 50. In ways that genuinely catch people off guard. But wait, I want to pump the brakes for a second. Because sibling rivalry isn't all bad. A healthy level of sibling competition can actually push you to grow. Watching your sibling read more, work harder, try new things, it sparks something in you. That motivational pull is real, and it can be genuinely positive. The difference comes down to why you're competing. Healthy competition says, I want to grow. I want to be better. For me, unhealthy competition says, I need to beat my sibling. Otherwise, I'm worthless. One fuels you, the other drains both of you. So if you feel that competitive edge around your sibling, don't beat yourself up. The feeling itself isn't the problem. It's about understanding where it's coming from. Alright, so now the real question. What do you actually do with all of this? The first thing, and this might sound simple, but it's genuinely powerful, is to stop fighting the feeling. When your sibling succeeds and you feel that complicated mix of emotions, don't immediately label yourself as a terrible person. Instead, try something different. Name it. Psychologists call this effect labeling. Research out of UCLA found that when you put a name to an emotion, literally just identifying it, activity in the amygdala, the brain's alarm system, actually decreases. So instead of spiraling into, I'm a horrible sibling, try saying to yourself, I'm feeling competitive right now. That makes sense. I can work with this. That single shift can take a feeling from overwhelming to manageable. Second, change your comparison baseline. Instead of measuring yourself against your sibling, start measuring yourself against who you were a year ago. Because here's the truth. Life isn't a race where everyone starts from the same line. Your sibling is running their track. You're running yours. They're not your competition. There's someone running alongside you in a completely different lane. Third, look honestly at your relationship with your parents' approval. For a lot of people, sibling rivalry is really just an echo of something much older. I want mom and dad to be proud of me. I want to feel chosen. And if that need is still driving a lot of your adult decisions, it might be worth sitting with that. Here's a reframe that might help. Your parents' love was never actually split between you and your sibling. Love doesn't work like a pie where one person's slice is smaller because someone else got more. And more importantly, you are not the same child who needed their approval to feel safe. You've grown. You get to define your own worth now. Fourth, if you can, have the honest conversation. I know, it sounds terrifying, but you might be surprised. A lot of siblings are carrying the same weight. The same quiet resentments, the same unspoken comparisons, the same wish to just be seen by each other. Opening that up, even a little, can be one of the most unexpectedly healing things you do. For a relationship that was always meant to last a lifetime, your sibling is probably going to be in your life longer than almost anyone else. Your parents will, at some point, no longer be here. Friends drift away, but a sibling, that relationship tends to go the distance. That's exactly why it's complicated. That's exactly why it hurts sometimes. And that's exactly why it's worth the effort. You can't eliminate sibling rivalry completely, but you can understand it. You can see it for what it is, where it came from, and what it's trying to tell you. And when you do that, you stop being a victim of it. You start making choices. If this video resonated with you, hit subscribe so you don't miss the next one. Drop a comment below and tell me about your sibling dynamic. I genuinely read them all. And if someone in your life needs to hear this today, share it with them. Because the most important relationships in your life deserve more than silence.